Getting everyone about another minute, and then we can go ahead and get started. Thank you for coming. Highly appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Ping your followers list. And so we'll get started here in about 60 seconds.
Shalom. If you haven't already, make sure you are following the moderators. Make sure you are following the club, Thy Kingdom Come. Go down and make sure you're following all the other clubs attached to Thy Kingdom Come. That would be in my profile or Leo's profile as well. Follow all those clubs. All those clubs are continually throughout the week, in all hours of the day, host rooms that are edifying. So make sure you become a member and nominate someone as well. Continue to ping your whole followers list until you cannot ping anymore. Leo should be getting started shortly. Let's get everybody in here and get them informed. Also, if you haven't yet become a member of the Thy Kingdom Come telechat, just contact myself or Brother Leo via Twitter or Instagram, and we'll get you into the chat. That there you can keep up to date on the current stories that we're sharing, as well as uh, all of the classes that are hosted on Thy Kingdom Come, as well as our sister um, um, platforms, so that you can stay up to date. And if you do not wish to come to stage, you can interact with the moderators as well as those that come on stage during our rooms. And I'll turn it over to Brother Leo.
Thank you, King Ben. So, welcome tonight. Tonight's lesson of analyzing Jacob's trouble. Now, just a quick review. Over the past 10 episodes regarding Jacob's trouble, we covered a large range of topics. What is Jacob's trouble? A lot of possible scenarios dealing with Jacob's trouble: cyber attacks, hyperinflation, ways to prepare regarding food storage, water storage, bug out bags, um, self-defense training, lots of skills regarding Jacob's trouble. We covered, cooking, sewing, gardening, things like that. Just kind of touched on those topics. We talked about, more importantly than all of the natural preparation, the spiritual preparation. Um, you know, Ways to get our minds right, our hearts and minds right for this time that's coming upon us. So we have those 10 episodes on King Ben's YouTube channel. And we also have them on the website too. If you go to the Yaya Quab's Trouble, we have it in the chat in the Thy Kingdom Come. It's under lessons. So we did a great, all praises to the Most High. First, I want to give honor and glory to him, Salakia, for, bringing us together and allowing us to share this knowledge. And hopefully it's beneficial. But it gave me the idea for that website. So if you don't want to go to King Ben's YouTube channel, we have those lessons on there. So that was 10 episodes regarding just a broad and in-depth lesson by lesson overview of Jacob's trouble. So we want to change it up a little bit, and we're going to go into a new segment still regarding Jacob's trouble, still regarding emergency preparedness and things to look out for, but we're going to take it from a different angle, and we're going to call this next series of lessons Analyzing Jacob's Trouble. So we're going to be analyzing Jacob's trouble through a series of TV shows and movies to pull out a lot of gems and things that we've built a great foundation. All praises to the Father in the past 10 episodes. So episode 1 of Analyzing Jacob's Trouble, we covered an episode of The Twilight Zone called The Shelter, which is really good. It's still on the website if you haven't seen it. And then we covered a short film called Aftermath. So in tonight's episode of Analyzing Jacob's Trouble, we are traveling to the fictional town of Ogden Marsh. This is from a movie called The Crazies. In the first scene, we see the town burning and destruction everywhere, and the streets are deserted. Then we go back 2 days prior in the movie to see the town is getting ready for the start of baseball season. David, the sheriff of Pierce County, is at the game until there's a man entering the baseball game with a shotgun. Now all the players go into the dugout and the fans who are currently in the stands are still watching. David is forced to kill this man when he raises the shotgun at David, who visibly looks sick with a bloody and runny nose. Then we zoom out to see a satellite view of the town and the government response team being initiated. Now, a few things to note: that if this would have happened today, that killing would have been live streamed and broadcast all over the world. Now, with the news machine that's controlled by the elites, they would have spun that story 1,000 different ways. Of course, you would have the alt media would have came in and called it false flags, or saying it was a result of the vaccine. Either way, the mainstream media would have spun this incident in their favor. We will see that later. Now, later we see Dave's wife Judy, the town nurse, is seeing a patient named Bill, who is acting strange, and she suggests that she suggests an MRI and sends him home. Now, Bill later that evening traps his wife and son in a closet and then sets the house on fire. A few things in a situation like this from this scene that we should take note of. If you've seen your family members acting strange and then start doing weird stuff like this, as you can see with Bill, when he was in the seeing Judy at her doctor's office, and he kept repeating, "I'm fine, I'm just tired." And then we're talking from the wife and son's perspective, and then she's at home, and the machine from the barn is on, and then the son tells her dad is acting strange. He has a knife. Considering the times we are in, and considering the substance, I'll call it the Kool-Aid. Considering the Kool-Aid that everyone is taking in exchange for shakes and fries and hookers and guns and lottery tickets, um, you know, having a more, I guess, keen eye as to what our loved ones are doing wouldn't be a bad idea. So in this situation, if they start acting strange, um, you know, you would have to start being proactive and, you know, leave the house or defend yourself with something like that. So, um, you know, yeah, the barn equipment on late at night, and then your son is telling you dad has a knife, you really have to act. Now, hiding, I mean, again, in that situation, is probably the best thing that she, of course, this is a movie, is scripted, but however, that's probably the best thing that she could think of at the time to figure out until we figure out what the hell's going on. And, of course, they never would have thought that he would lock them into the closet and burn down the house. So, um, you know, definitely, start paying attention. Now, the ability to connect the dots before all hell breaks loose in a zombie apocalypse or any upcoming storm is a vital skill. This is coming out of Proverbs chapter 22, verse 3. A prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. When you start to see trends and behaviors, then you need to know whatever is bound to come is going to come soon. Like people getting magnets stuck to their arms, electronic magnetic readers going off, and all the similar videos from different people from all races, from all parts of the world are posting online. Yeah, that's one plot point of many data points that the wise will look at. Now, another example from this is taken from the first season of Fear the Walking Dead. Not The Walking Dead, but Fear the Walking Dead. It's a spinoff of the original series, The Walking Dead. Now, if anyone's seen that, I'm probably going to do a series on that. But there was a kid at the high school from Fear the Walking Dead that everyone was making fun of. He tried to warn everyone at the school that people kept posting videos online of people all over the world acting like zombies and attacking people and, eating, trying to eat them and stuff like that. So when the outbreak finally happened in Los Angeles, the principal was looking at the kid like, "Yeah, you're right." Okay. So later we see Sheriff, going back to the Crazies, later we see Sheriff David and Deputy Russell discover a military aircraft crashed in the town's river. This leads David to suspect its cargo is contaminated the water supply, which could have caused the town's strange behavior. Then we see another satellite shot that says initiate containment protocol, which we know that things are about to get real. However, in our case, we saw how incompetent the US and state governments were during the early stages of the pandemic. So, whenever the US steps in to contain anything, just know it's going to be a shit show. Excuse the language. An example of this is when David and Russell discover that the town's water supply is being compromised, so they go to the mayor to turn off the water supply to stop the spread. But the mayor makes the political decision to keep the water on, which we know from the movie it was already too late for the population. But we see that the government is going to do whatever it takes to keep the masses calm and will only react when the problem arises and not a moment sooner. Now, when they get back to the station, the police station, they see Bill, the farmer, who they arrested from, the house fire. They see him visibly sick and start screaming from his jail cell. Now, the symptoms of the sickness are more obvious than just strange behavior. Suddenly, all communication services in the town are down: internet, cell phone, cable television. Now, at this point, there's a lockdown underway, and now we know on a national scale this could be a cyber attack. Now, at this point, depending on who you are, where you are, you need to start executing whatever plan it is that you have. These are the few critical moments before the masses start to catch on that all hell is breaking loose, or the masses themselves start making hell come loose. If you want to start, if your plan is to start heading out of the city to your cabin in the woods or make your last run to the store, you leaving work early to get your kids, whatever it is, you need to start doing it. If this was the situation that we are seeing, the progression of strange things and communication being locked down. Now, at this point, for David, the dots become clearer, especially when he saw the water tainted, and now he sees the communications in the town are down. And then he sees him being surveillance from a black SUV. At that point, he needed to act immediately. Okay. Now later that night, which he does, he goes home and tells his wife to pack a bag. They need to get the hell out of town. Now the unsubmissive wife says no. She's the only doctor, and they have friends in this town. Now this will be a real life scenario. Certain cops will leave their their post, and look after their families. So that's one thing I will take from that. Like, he sees me and you, wife, got to get the hell out of here. That is more than likely what's going to happen in a lot of situations. Not saying all the cops will leave at once, but depending on the local PD's personal situation, they got a sick parent, they got a wife, they got they're the only parent. You're going to see a lot of people leave their post once it becomes clear that things are starting to get bad. Okay. Now, as they head outside, we later see the soldiers take them captive and place them on a school bus to take them to a local high school, which looks like a FEMA camp. They're on this bus with the Deputy Russell. At this FEMA camp, they check the temperatures of the evacuees. Now, in this scene, there are a few things to consider when it comes to FEMA camps. In this situation, it looks very realistic, almost too realistic. What I mean by that is, if this was real in real life and the containment was only limited to this small town, the town has about a population of 1,200, and the government was proactive, then this setup and this scene of them having this FEMA camp at a high school would run smoothly. However, compare this to a national or global zombie movie that we've all seen, and we've seen how and why things quickly fall apart. A real life example is Hurricane Katrina. We saw how incompetent the government was during the disaster and how unorganized and unsafe the Superdome was. So with Babylon, you can expect the same carnage, but you can also expect these types of FEMA camps to be at certain locations, including Sam's Clubs, Walmarts, your high schools that have the large stadiums, your football, basketball stadiums and arenas, to be used as potential hubs in this type of situation. So a good thing right now is to be aware of your surroundings. For us right now, be aware of your nearest Walmarts, abandoned Sam's Clubs, large high schools, police stations in your area. So you know which direction not to go in. Now, later we see some civilians break through the fence and the rest to free the rest of the civilians. How realistic this is, I don't know. I would say that's pretty unrealistic. I think at that point, the people who did not get rounded up would say, "To hell with that. They're on their own." Unless there's some family members who are part of that, who are part of, who are in that FEMA camp. So if they do have some family members who are in the FEMA camp, they probably could gather some people together to go do a rescue mission. How unrealistic, again, how successful they would be just depends. Later, we see them again. We see them break through the fence and free the civilians. Now, after David leaves the truck stop, because remember he scanned, his scan was clear, but he got taken to the truck stop. Now he goes back to the police station to get some guns and finds that the guns are gone, which we can be assumed that it was emptied out by the military. Now, again, on a large scale disaster, depending on what the situation is, the guns may or may not be there. For example, a hurricane here in Houston, the stores you have Academy, Cabela's, Gander Mountain. The stores, they typically take all the guns from the shelves and place them in the back in a very large safe. Okay, and also during Hurricane, what was that? I can't remember the last one. I think it was Hurricane Harvey. There was a gun store that got broken into, and over 200 guns were stolen, which I think it could. I think it could have been a inside job because again, I think there's some regulations in how you have to store your guns. You can't just in a situation like this. So there was like 200 guns, rifles, shotguns, handguns stolen during Hurricane Harvey. But you could expect, um, um, like I said, the guns may or may not be there if you're looking for a place to salvage. So now during this, the four of them attempt to escape the town when Russell and David or Dave rescue his wife from the school. So it's Russell, it's Dave, it's Judy and Becca, the high school girl or whatever, uh, recent graduate. Now the four of them to attempt to escape the town, but they see that all the cars have boots on them and decide to walk, which will be a real and more than likely possibility for most of us, which is walking. Okay, so uh, yeah, that's one thing we see a lot throughout this movie is quite a bit of walking. Now, the scene where they are in the barn of Becca's boyfriend with the soldier, and he says we weren't giving any information. We didn't know we were even in America until we landed. Now, the lies are going to come from the top all the way down until the chain of command is broken, and the young soldiers are just as lost and confused as you. Many will go rogue and drive around in their Humvees, using their uniforms and guns to rob and pillage desperate people looking for help. Fast forwarding, we see they eventually obtain a vehicle to aid them in their escape, but Becca is killed by the infected at the car wash while evading a helicopter after the air crew destroyed their car. We later see them continuing on foot. Now, again, we cannot emphasize this enough that physical exertion will be required for most of us in different situations and in different terrains. Again, it's just depending on where we are. So if you haven't started working out, please do so now. Even myself, I need to pick it up a little bit. You don't have to be in CrossFit or a weekend warrior, but please do something that you enjoy that is physically beneficial. Now, the survivors during this walk, the survivors subdue an intelligence officer who reveals that the cargo plane contained weaponized biological weapon called Trixie, which contaminated the town's water source. Russell begins to act abnormal and executes the intelligent officer, which causes tension between Russell and David. Now, again, this is, you know, we don't know what's coming or in what form. We have, and in what time. So, um, if someone in your group is acting strange, you definitely need to be proactive and do something about it. So, not saying you got to kill them or whatever. Just, you may have to. Just being real and giving the thousands and tens of thousands of possible scenarios that we may all be placed in. So, again, David realizes this, and then Russell then realizes that he is infected. So, there's another montage of the three of them walking as the sun sets and night falls. The group reaches soldiers blocking the only road out of town, it appears. Now, in this movie, we know that the town is about to get bombed, but absent of that knowledge, as the sun is setting, you want to make sure you get somewhere safe to where you can sleep for the night. Preferably indoors in a structure that you can hide or that you can be hidden, or you can secure the structure. An abandoned house, for example. Okay. Moving on, we see Russell provides a distraction so David and Judy can bypass the soldiers. David and Judy arrive at a truck stop and discover that the soldiers executed their evacuated neighbors. We can see this in a Bible verse. This is 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 68 through 69. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and reproach and trodden underfoot. So the key word is consent. Now, for many of us, it may seem like we don't have a choice. But like David, we will have a choice to escape the truck stop and go back to save his wife, or to get in the truck with everyone else and be had in derision and reproach and trodden underfoot. Now, after killing more of the infected at the truck stop, they escape in a semi truck while a nuclear bomb destroys a small town of 1,200. Now, they figure this out by a CB radio picking up the countdown from the military. That CB radio was inside the truck as we saw that the countdown was going on. Now, some people ask me about a ham radio, and my question is, do you know how to use a ham radio? And their response was no. So I stared at them, they stared at me, I stared at them, they stared at me. And that kind of answers the question whether or not you should get a ham radio. So if you want to get a ham radio, make sure you know how to use it. It's not hard, but then again, it's not super duper easy. So, they're a little bit different than a walkie talkie. They pick up a lot more frequencies. They have something like in walkie-talkie size. They're just you can pick up weather reports. You can pick up someone else who is tens of thousands of miles away. So they're good, but again, just you buying a ham radio and throwing it in your closet and throw it in your closet and never opening the box, never, programming the software in the CB radio, not pre-programming channels that you would think you would need for your area. It's going to just either cause you frustration or you're not going to use it. So, you know, if you get one, it's not bad. But one thing you should note, this is one thing I've learned the hard way. Um, the A lot of the frequencies have been switched from analog to digital. So if you get a ham radio or a Bofang that's acts like a ham radio or CB radio, make sure it's digital. So whatever you type in, type in digital, CB radio or walkie talkie because the frequencies have changed. So if you have one that's still analog and everything is running digital, you won't be able to pick up hardly any frequencies. Maybe the local weather channel or something like that. But to pick up your police stations, your city halls, office, and EMT stuff like that, everyone's gone digital. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Probably a bad thing since everything is connected to the internet. So I would, but make sure that you would have something digital because with the digital you still can go back to analog signals or frequencies, but with analog you cannot go to digital frequencies. So just keep that in mind. But so now the explosion disables their truck and they are on foot again. Now, as the couple heads towards Cedar Rapids, they are spotted by a satellite. Um, they are spotted by a satellite with the containment protocol being initiated of a city of 128,000. Now, these people are probably are infected too. Only the Lord knows how many places that river runs off to. So, we saw the scene earlier, how they were checking the map of the city to see where the river ran off to and whose houses were infected first. So if that town was and that water supply was infected, it's probably going to neighboring towns as well. So now, in my opinion, it is more realistic that the military could contain a town of 1,200 people. But again, that requires them to be proactive and not, yeah, we'll take care of it, if and when, you know, things escalate, which that's what they're known to do. So now, again, in my opinion, it is realistic that they could contain 1,200 people, but a city of 128,000 plus, and I say plus because people would be commuting in and out of the city, seems like a joke, especially considering how much power states have during the pandemic, as we saw. Texas was closed literally a month, and then they started reopening slowly but surely, while New York and California was, on lockdown for the later part of the year. Now, I don't know if anyone noticed this. I didn't know this until today when I was preparing for this lesson. In the film, there's a post-credit scene that shows a news report of the bombing of the small town. In the news anchor is blaming the disaster on a chemical plant explosion, which we can all believe that the news will not tell the truth about an event like this. So everything that the media says we can take with a grain of salt. So in that post credit scene, he says, yeah, in the town of this is a fictional town, Ogun Marsh, there was a chemical plant explosion that left some pretty damage, some pretty harsh damage. But that's all they report. Now, but this is the modus operandum of the government. They will lie, and delay in telling us the truth until the absolute last minute. Now, during this broadcast in the post-credit scene, the news broadcast is repeatedly interrupted by footage of soldiers and the affected before the signal crashes. Now, there's quite a few assumptions Some could say that it's the footage of Cedar Rapids getting out, which would make sense since the small town was bombed. Or you could speculate that it is footage from inside the military who were evacuated earlier in the movie. Some of them are releasing the footage. So, I didn't. That was something new. I didn't never knew that scene existed. So, um, you know, but wrapping up this breakdown of this movie, I mean, in conclusion, what do we have? We have citizens of the small town Ogden Marsh, Iowa, being the victim of a series of unfortunate events that require everyone, including the sheriff and his wife, to be constantly flexible and to work as a team in order to survive this ordeal. An ordeal that seems like fiction to the foolish, but a tale of caution to the wise. A tale filled with nuggets of knowledge and tips as we continue to prepare and analyze Jacob's trouble. So, with that, I yield. King Ben, is something you want to add? And, you guys can raise your hand and give your input on the show or things that you noticed and things that you liked and didn't like about this movie.
Con. Yeah. So I thought it to be. I've actually seen this before, but I did refresh and watch it again. It was a lot of key points that is just relatable to the times that we are in now, as we see a lot of turmoil going on around um, the United, not just the United States right now, but the world. Um, if anybody was to, you can just Google um, the United States involvement in regime changes around the world, and this is very prevalent with how the CIA works, because CIA would literally go into a country which is probably not be friendly, or whoever's any elected official that is not a puppet of the United States, and they would literally go in and destabilize uh, the government there by planting rebels, or some in rebels in the fight against the government, as well as probably destroying the economy, which they did in several of our Latin America countries, as well as planting a virus. We know that a lot of things have came out through so-called Dr. Fauci's emails over the last few days, as to where it surfaced that he knew that it was a bioweapon. This is not new to us, but this has been the United States mo throughout the existence of their government, to basically destabilize and thus control their enemy's government by placing a figurehead in their um, into their government. So if you watch the movie, the premise of the weapon that was being delivered was a bioweapon to destabilize governments, which it backfired. Um, so if you go into and Google it, you will be able to see, just through Wikipedia, it says United States involvement in regime change describes United States government participation in the interference, both overt and covert. Okay, both outwardly and uh, you know um, secretly, in the replacement of foreign governments. In the latter half of the 19th century, United States government initiated actions for regime change, mainly in Latin America and the Southwest Pacific, including Spanish America, American, and um, Philippine American wars. Okay, it says at the onset of the 20th century, the United States shaped or installed governments in many countries around the world, including neighbors Panama, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. These are the ones that they have listed. We know it's far, far many more. Or most of these, a lot of these countries is our people were residing in. There ain't too many countries that the Israelites don't reside in, but namely these countries. So this right here is basically kind of like a microcosm of of what they're doing around the world. They are spreading themselves in every country. You see the countries that are at odds with the United States, China, um, Russia, Iran, all of these countries. We know there's biblical prophecy that these countries will fight against Babylon, right? Um, so these are countries that they are not able to. Basically, they are attempting to disrupt. They are doing these things to disrupt them, but they haven't been able to replace the government in its entirety. They may kill one of the government and not be able to remove the rest, right? So this movie is kind of like it's kind of like almost like it shows that what will happen to the United States, that all of its deeds will fall back on the United States. This is like as the term Malcolm X used, chickens coming home to roost. And it's showing that this is an American town, and basically this is something that they was planning to do, namely to in other countries. This is the biological warfare that they are using to fight, and it fell back on them. um right, and they had no choice but into the movie to make it look like it was some type of you know not only just a sickness, but then they made it look like it was some type of natural some type of accident or disaster. And by basically after they nuked the town, they went in there, and killed the people. So I just wanted to run into a few precepts, uh just in reference to this, because it will fall back on the United States. This is curses that will slack it will come back on them. Um First I wanted to I wanted to go to Revelations, of course. Go to Revelations Salaki, Revelations 18 and 6, because she has to be paid back for that she has to be paid back double for what she has done throughout to all of these other nations. She has been an instigator, talking about America, daughter of Babylon, this whore. She has spread herself throughout to all these nations, and she have done wickedness in all of these nations. So it has to come back to her. You know what I'm saying? And this is just a view that's showing that their dirt will be released on their own cities, right? It's Revelation 18 and 6. I'm actually going to start at I'm gonna start at I'm gonna start at 4. It says, Revelation 18 and 4, it says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues." Right? So, us as the Most High talking to us as the people to stop, to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, come out of the world as much as we can, because the plagues are coming back home. We've seen with this so-called coronavirus and over the time of the food shortages, what's happening. I mean, the blood that's being spread into the streets. Art, we can see, we've seen the Capitol uprising. These are things that they have perpetrated in other countries. Embassies being raided. This was their own people that did this. This past January, this was their own people. So, when this was seen around the world, this was America. There's chickens coming home to roost. The stabilization that they have planned and plotted throughout nations, coming back to afflict the things. That infection has come back home to rest in the lap of she who sent it out. Verse 5, it says, "For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh hath remembered her iniquities." Right? He hasn't forgotten. Even though we may forget all of the things and all of the wickedness that they have performed around the world over time, it is recorded. The angels have recorded these things throughout the time, and it is set. He has his judgment set for those that have perpetrated it, right? It says, verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, double unto her according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill her double, right? So she will get double for what she has dished out. And that cup is her, in the things that she have, uh, you know, that cup is the things that she have spread around the world. Homosexuality, all of these philosophies and things that she have put on other countries to destabilize them. It's not always in the eyes of biological warfare. Sometimes it's just her philosophy, her customs. These things destabilize other countries. When she's spreading these things, you had um the Arab, um I can't think of it. The Arab United Emirate, AUE, they have adopted that sex outside of marriage is legal now. They have adopted these philosophies, um, that America have adopted. They spread these influences over. America sends homosexuals over to these nations, and these disrupt these it causes chaos in the streets. It causes riots over there. So this is the destabilization that they have done to a lot of these other countries. And this will come back. These things, as you see, is fighting in the streets always in America. These mass shootings, these are the things that they have inflicted around the world, giving other nations guns, giving it to rebels to fight against the governments of these other countries. Going to I'm gonna go over to Second Esdras 6 real quick, because and we seen in this movie it was when this thing came, all of these people of this town turned on one another. You know what I'm saying? It was like just all of the wickedness was coming out of these people, out of their pores. This sickness came on them, but they was actually doing a lot of the things that they wanted to do all the time. Um, Salakia, this is Second Esdras 6, and I'm gonna start at 22. Second Esdras 6 and 22. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and full storehouses shall suddenly be empty, right? And we know at this time, it's a lot of Edomites that are setting up, and they got their storehouses full, of all the things that they're loading up. If you think that we're getting ready for Jacob's trouble, we could never get ready as they are, but it will not help them. They are filling up and stocking up on everything that they can. You've seen with the gas, you've seen with the toilet tissue. They have the money. We just trying to get the things that can hold us over, humbly as we can, right? Verse 23, it says, and a trumpet shall give sound, which when every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid, right? And we seen how the town was. It was at one point it was a quietness on this town. I mean, it was nothing going on there. And then you had the military there, going from house to house. It was alarms going off. It was helicopters. It was all type of things, right? It says, verse 24. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Right? It's going to be all type of hell breaking loose, neighbor against neighbor. Right? Let me jump over to Second Esdras 15, Slakia, and Slakia, and I think I want 17. I'm gonna start at 16. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, right? Their leaders, right? The sheriff, he was the sheriff of the town. He had no control. He had no say. All right. They was trying to kill him. His own deputy turned against him. Right. It says, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. Right. Um, it says, verse 18, it says, uh for because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Right? Verse 19, a man shall have no pity on his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. So as you've seen, as it went forward, it was barely no, it was no survivors of that town. And then they headed to another town, which they ended up walking to. And as you've seen the satellite fading out, the protocol came in, to uh the protocol came in to content. The satellite saw them walk into that town, and the protocol of containment went to the next town that they was going on to. So the same thing was set to happen to the next town that they went to. So these are things that are we it's that judgment. How it says the most high judgment is, it's like a ring. It will come around. So um you know uh you can see these things that the America have done to afflict. It was nothing new when they said that they was, using this to destabilize other countries. This is what they do. This is what they've been created for. So it coming back on them was just that justice, and this justice will return as we are praying for that day to see. We just praying to escape it. That's what all these classes is for. That's what all of these movies reviews is for. Because they are telling us this judgment is coming to, and by the Most High. They ain't telling us willingly. They telling us because the Most High is making them tell us that this judgment is coming. This is warning, just like the scriptures are. You know what I'm saying? Those that have an ear, let them hear. Those that have eyes, let them see. You are seeing these things through the movie. Back in the time when you wasn't under this understanding, you would miss all of this. These movies would fly right past you. You wouldn't have nothing to relate it to. But these scriptures allow you to see the Most High judgment coming, and He's telling it to you through these Edomites and these producers that's making these movies. And on that, I yield.
Con. Yeah, that again, it's for the this movie was a remake from a 1973 version. So I didn't see the 1973 version. Not really, I wasn't really interested in that. But a few things to note is like Brother Ben was saying, this is, I mean, a sense of predictive programming, not so much like, oh, what they're going to do to them. Like the U.S. is not really going to plan to crash a plane, and hell, they might. They're that wicked, but things to come. More so. So the fact that that was a 1973 a remake of a 1973 version, and we saw that in was it 2009, 2010. They remade it again. So yeah, it's just some things to learn from, and pull while having a I guess a sense of entertainment. I guess one thing to come in when you come into the truth, you definitely watch things and watch movies differently than you were before. So is there anyone else that want? Is there not anyone else? But is there anyone that wants to come up and I guess comment on the movie, or um, let us know what you thought? Liked it? Didn't like it? You learned anything? Anyone? Okay. Okay. Oh, we got Sister RT coming up. Shalom, sis.
Shalom. The movie was interesting. It was predictable though. I could predict certain things that were gonna happen, but to me, as the movie says, the crazies, right? But to me, it wasn't too crazy. That just looks like normal Edomite behavior. So yeah, I didn't find it to be too unusual.
God, God, yeah. That is true. I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
did. I'm like, this is nothing new.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
do stuff like this.
yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I didn't even think about that. It was just, that is, I guess the thing, like, for me, that was like kind of like unrealistic. Like, of course, a nuclear bomb, you're not making it out. I mean, you're just not. Um, but of course they had to let them. You got to have some survivors. But uh, yeah, I
So
mean,
so so
go ahead.
Salakia, RT, basically the movie should have been named The Normals.
Right. The usual. And as far as the water system being poisoned, I think if they try to get us, they're gonna do it like that because that way you can get everybody. But all praises to the Most High, we won't be affected because we follow the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. I'm just grateful that we serve the Most High.
Khan, all
Uh,
praise.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Khan.
All right, that's all. Shalom.
The water says.
The water. Go on. So yeah, I mean, tonight was I guess shorter because I only did one movie. I just wanted to, I guess, I wanted to focus on one movie because this was longer than the two ones from last week. So I guess kind of get a feel how doing a full feature movie would work versus two short ones. So the time is about this. It's about the same if I would did one short film. So I mean, you're not going to learn everything in every single scene of a hour and a half movie. So it was just a good test to see. Hold on, bring up Sister RT again. So it was a good test to see. You know the format for tonight. Sister RT, something you want to add?
Yeah, also when in the beginning of the movie you saw the planes fly over, I thought the poison was going to come from those chemtrails, but it actually, I don't know if that was one of the planes that actually crashed and the poison was in the chemtrails, or if the poison was just in the plane.
Yeah, I think it was. I think that was a separate plane that crashed because it was carrying. It was. They said it was carrying the payload of the Trixie of the chemical
Oh,
poison that they were set to destroy. So yeah, I think
oh,
different. But yeah, I mean, however, whatever the plan is, we'll be protected, as servants of the Most High. So I mean, we just gotta be don't drink the Kool-Aid that they're giving out for free like candy, and creating every day a new incentive for us to take this Kool-Aid. And if that's the way things are going to pop off, then just like we said earlier, make sure that we have the, I guess, foresight to connect the dots when things start getting strange. So I would just leave it with that.
come.
Um, right, and also now that we have the class, these movie reviews, they may not it may not be with you know. Make sure you reviewing the videos that Brother Leo said as well, because a lot of times when we watch these videos, we don't have no understanding how it relates to future prophecy. A lot of times we're just viewing these things and seeing if it's a good movie. A lot of times, a movie is even better when you understand the scriptures and how it relates to future prophecy. It's a lot of movies when I didn't have proper understanding on that I went back and watched again with that biblical understanding, and I seen things in there that the Most High, that I know was in the books, in the scriptures that I read. So, with these movies, you may have seen it before. Don't pass it up, and hey, if you know of one, bring it to Brother Leo's attention or my attention, and we'll review it. We have some real good ones coming up, but make sure you're taking the time to check these out in your spare time as it relates, because it's a lot of things. A lot of us live in these small towns. A lot of us seen things. We see a lot of our people getting sick nowadays, and they're relating it to COVID. I watched Songbird yesterday. That's a movie that's now out. Will we gonna get to it eventually? But these are a lot of movies that we're seeing, and we're connecting the dots as it relates to things that are coming soon. We're not just talking about these things to scare you into, just to have you in fear. We're trying to get our people, give you that jolt to wake you up and, get you to start gathering and preparing and getting your houses in order, your spiritual houses in order, your spiritual bags packed, and, have you in a mindset of, ready to face this trouble that is coming. This is a trouble like no other. Nothing that we never experienced before, as pursuant to Daniel 12:1, right? So, these movies, these things are very important. Also, when we come into these classes, it's nothing wrong with you if you have a question on a previous Jacob's Troubles class. Bring your questions up. That's what these classes are for. If you have anything relating to, the classes, or something, we did on bug out bags and review, bring your questions up. That's what it's here for. Don't miss the opportunity to ask these questions, because I know a lot of these questions come up throughout the week, just in the Shalom and Chill rooms, some of the other rooms, and if you have any, ideas on anything that you want to, the brothers to just review or ask a question, bring it out. And someone else, make sure you tell them about it, because this is very important for our people. Believe me, it's a lot of other people that's not preparing as we are. It's a lot of folly going up and down the hallways, but just taking the time to come into these classes and hear about these things and speak about these things, it puts you in a mindset that you're not just not thinking about it. It is something that you need to be meditating on and praying on, so that in that day you can be ready. And when you hear those sounds, when you hear, when the Most High make that alarm clock goes off, you can jump into action. You won't just sit and stand in place in fear and not know what to do. you know so yeah, I yield on that.
Con, and you brought up a lot of good points, and I guess the biggest takeaway I took from that movie was, we have to be flexible. I mean, you know, I guess the scene where he said, "Hey," he went home and they were packing. He was packing a bag, and she was saying, "I'm not leaving." Like for one, the wife is out of order, and two, that's why they got caught by the military. But I mean, even throughout that whole movie, you just have to be flexible. Like he was going to leave. She said no. Then they're at the high school, and then he gets splits up, and then he has to somehow get from the truck stop back to the stadium, and then uh, the next morning they find a car, they fixing it up, and then the car gets bombed. Like, so you the constant thing of being flexible. So I mean, that's one thing. Even as we prepare, I mean, you don't know what the Lord has set for you specifically in your household. So you may say, "Hey, we are meeting up here at this time, this place, blah blah blah." I'll just use me for example. Like I'm meeting up with King Ben. This is where we're meeting up at, and the Lord says, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got some assignments for you to do while you're going through Jacob's trouble. Don't worry, Ben's fine. You're gonna meet up him with later in the wilderness. Don't worry about it. But I need you to do this, and I need you to go, minister to these people. I need you to go." So the having the mental, I mean, we may think that we're going to meet up somewhere. We may think we're going to, be in that bunker. We may think, which there's no problem in planning for that. However, being ready to be flexible, you know, or whatever plan you have, that if it does not go exactly the way you have it in your head, like, okay, well, this is the reality. We're walking now, even though I had a truck that was you know had all the latest and greatest, and we were ready to camp, and blah blah blah. That just got stolen. Okay, whatever. So now we're walking. So the ability to be flexible, mentally flexible too, and not only I guess that's more mentally flexible, is adjusting and adapting to different situations. Having that ability, or we go through it our daily lives. Like we've all had plans of what we wanted to do with our lives, and um, you know things didn't happen exactly as we planned, but we excelled, through the Most High, and being flexible, like, okay, submitting ourselves to His will. So That's one thing I did take away. Like, okay, we want to do this, or we wanted to take this truck, but Russell, threw out spike strips and blew the tires out the SUV we were going to take to get out. So now we're walking. So, that ability to be flexible is a vital thing that a lot of people will, the vast majority of people around the world, more specifically us Americans, will not have when the time comes. You saw that at the early stages of the pandemic. People, buying up all the toilet paper, buying up all the water, buying up, just that I need to be comfortable. Like, f my neighbor. Do could I leave a roll of toilet tissue for someone else? Yeah, probably, but I'm not going to. Um, so that inability, so that selfishness and that inability to be flexible for when the time comes that we will probably be without toilet tissue. What do you do in that situation? So having it's a real life question that we will all um, might have to answer at some point. So be flexible. And with the coming lessons or coming videos, I got tons of movies. I got movies for days, and I got some stuff. Yeah, so don't. As far as this segment goes, there's not a shortage of content. I assure you. So I'm not. I kind of want to stay away from the flashy Hollywood lone wolf. Ripped Will Smith surviving the apocalypse with all this protein. Like it's just like that that's unrealistic. There's almost nothing you can gain from that. Probably some stuff I could pull out, but like it's just like, eh, he probably would have been dead already. Like considering the odds and things like that. But it's Will Smith. It's a movie. It's scripted. You know, um, and especially living in New York City of all places. Like what the hell? Like it's just there's just so many things that just won't make sense. So I think I'm gonna go back to the two short film format, maybe three, depending on if I can get this summary of this one done of this next one I'm watching next week. But yeah, don't worry about if you guys have a suggestion, please give it to us. More than likely, I've seen it, but if it's a something we can, I'll watch it again and see if we can add to the rotation. We definitely will. We definitely thank your participation. So, um, you know, I don't have anything else. Oh, something you want to add, King Ben?
Yeah, I was just make sure that you don't wait till the last minute. We know everyone has huge so like busy schedules. We know everyone is working and take care of their family, so they may not have a lot of time. So in your spare time, these Leo's not putting 4 hour movies up there. He's putting stuff that he's making it practical for us to be able to watch these things. I was able to get it in just while I was cleaning up a bit, just in reviewing it, and if it's something that you have question on, that's something that you relate to, that you notice about it, jot it down. And when you come in here, we can discuss it and let you know how it relates, because these are relating to times that's come, where nothing is being brought out here that is, you know, even though they would relate it as something to be in like science fiction or fantasy, but these are things that are prevalent. That's why the brother Leo is bringing it forth. It relates to the upcoming, Jacob trouble that we will go through. So take notice of these things happening, because you will. These are stuff that we will witness in the future. The Bible does speak about. That's why we attach the precepts to it. These are things that will happen. So just take notice of that. Uh, for those that like I said, I'm not in the telechat, hit myself up. And if you're not able to get into the telechat, still contact myself or brother Leo via um, uh, Twitter or Instagram, and we'll give you the website so you can go and check out these movies there. Everyone else, the website is pinned to the top of the pinned to the chat in the telechat, so you can go there and review. Brother Leo has put a lot of hard work into the website. It's a very dope website. It's very user friendly. It's pinned to all my devices, so you can just go there and check it out. You know, we watch a lot of folly, so we can take the time out to check these things out and see how it relates. Like I said, anybody that has anything anything in the future, and bring Jake up. Anybody that has anything in the future as far as like just questions throughout the week, because we talk about this in the Shalom and Chill, bring it back to the class. I know y'all ask us when you even see myself or Brother Leo or even Brother Jake, you ask them questions on Jacob's trouble preparedness. But if you don't see one of us, or we haven't answered it to the best of your ability, bring it back so that everyone can learn of this question. Or if you find out some information, make sure you bring it back to the class so we can share it, and Israel as a whole can benefit from it. Also, get into that chat. That chat is very informative. We report the news every morning and we share it throughout that chat. Everything also relates to Jacob's trouble as well. Any type of products that we are um, using or we are reviewing, things like that, we share it to the chat. It's in that chat, and you can request it. Those type of questions as well. So it's very important. What's going on? What's going on, King? Brother Jake.
Shalom. Oh no, I just
So
I didn't get to. I don't get to talk sometimes because I'm on the phone. Uh, I think the well, I know y'all probably got a list planned of movies, but I think like The Road, it will be a good movie to add into the rotation.
yeah, that's
Um,
coming.
It's coming up. It's definitely coming up.
Yeah, yeah,
because
that's yeah. That's,
that one will really. I think they did an excellent job, and just one aspect of how Jacob's trouble will be made manifest. Another one of those. There's no explanation as to why life is the way that it is, but you got to deal with it, and it really puts things into perspective. So I think that'll be good. But y'all got it. So
yeah, thanks. Appreciate you. Like with the road, it comes from a book, so I want to pull some elements from the book as well, because there's some things that I wish they would have put in the movie, and so I want to do a review of the book as well with that one. So that one, yeah, that one's going to take a while to compile. So I'm gonna work on that one while I'm doing the other ones, because that one's really good. And the book, everyone says the book is exponentially better than the movie, of course. So yeah, that's definitely on the list. I appreciate it though.
and when it comes to the crazies, uh, it's a slasher, like a low key kind of like slasher film. But some of the elements that I think that I, as a, like the type of like tactical type of like I think like that. Like, I watch a karate movie and I think tactically. Watch a comedy movie and I think tactically. I go to a restaurant, I think tactically. But when they set up that high school to be a FEMA camp, um, and what we have to take into consideration is that these soldiers or the National Guardsmen, police officers, SWAT, rapid response teams, whether it's where they pull them off of a Navy ship and they bring them to they bring them stateside and they make them do stateside work. They train all the time for urban um, protection and urban response, right? How to set up a school to be a response or a quarantine zone or a stadium, university, how to create an orbit around it, how to get people in and out of it, what to do when people want to be disobedient to commands, how to address those commands at different you know, uh, danger levels when it comes to situational levels. Like we're at DEFCON this, or we're at situation level this, or color this. They're going to have a different level of force at those different levels, right? Um, People need to keep that in mind. If you think you're going to just buck up and be disobedient, uh, at certain levels or at certain times, National Guardsmen will treat that as an act of hostility and engage with you. And that will be from the chain of command. There's no appealing that. There's no arguing that. There's no suing or going to court for stuff like that at that time. They will execute a show of force um, to make people submissive and obedient, right? Um, Also, take into consideration. Um, I had another thing, man. I watched this movie and I had things saved in my brain, but just take that in mind. That's good enough. I just, you know, understand that these people who they give their lives to, work, for the government and be a soldier, and they get brainwashed into believing that that's the highest form of honor and protection and service. They will kill you and shoot you, and they get excited to do it, um, if they have to, if they think that they're trained to teach, that anybody who is disobedient is an enemy. So in that day, you will be the enemy if you are disobedient and think, well, I'm going to take my AR-15 and not be compliant and not be submissive to commands and be obedient. You know,
Come on, come on. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that insight, and especially with, I mean, more so, there's going to be a lot less, tolerance dealing with our people as a whole, and even less tolerance for those who fear the Lord, as per the book of Second Ezra. So, again, wherever we are, however this situation goes down, however, whatever circumstances we be in, we're in, the Lord's going to take care of us. So, but yeah, that is definitely great advice, for us to, be aware of. So, because again, America has not ever dealt with anything that, Afghanistan is dealing with, or Syria is dealing with, or Hamas is dealing with, or, any country that's been stabilized by American military has dealt with. So, while other countries are getting bombed, we're at home watching TV comfortably. So, in a situation again, that's one thing I wanted to, I guess that's the thing that kept coming back to me in that movie was flexibility. Like you said, like especially in the road, like this is the reality. So, um, I guess a quick comment about that movie. Like in the movie, that doesn't it doesn't disclose what happened, but from the book, it leads the reader to believe that Yellowstone exploded. So Yellowstone explodes. That's it. So I want to tie that into the review of that movie. But yeah, that's why in the movie everything looks dark and gray, and the trees are dying, and it's just like that's the theme of the movie. But it's led to believe that Yellowstone has went off. So yeah, that one's coming soon. But yeah, that's it's quite a bit of information to pull out of that one. So but yeah, now one thing, I'm going to upload these two, tonight or tomorrow. The two short films I'm going to post, so you guys will have more time to look at it, and you know, we will get that taken care of, so you guys can have more time to check it out. So I don't have anything else tonight, brother Ben. You want to close us out? If there's anyone else that wants to come up in the meantime.
Got my Shaq here wants to come up. Hey,
Shalom.
hey, hey, Shalom King. Got for it.
I wanted to know. So there's a Jacob's Trouble chat on Telegram.
It's a Thy Kingdom Come chat, and they have the Jacob's Trouble website in there, or you don't have to go to the chat to get to the website. We have a Jacob's Trouble website, which is called Yaakob's Trouble in Hebrew. So you can get that if you don't wish to go to the chat. But we do have a Thy Kingdom Comes chat as well that is for members that wish to go there.
Can you add me to that?
Yeah, just shoot me on Instagram, and I'll get you in there. I'll send you the link.
The water. That was all.
Okay.
God, all praises.
Yeah, so with that, we're gonna close out. We make sure you're following the moderators. Make sure you're following myself, brother Leo, brother Mike. He has some engagement to attend to. But he'll be back tomorrow morning. Make sure you follow brother Jake. I think he'll be starting the Shalom and Chill momentarily. Make sure you follow the club. Become a member of Thy Kingdom Come. If you're not, nominate. We got Salakia, we got some rooms opening up. We will have this week, Knights of the Round Table will be back this Thursday. We got some pretty exciting titles that is coming up. Tomorrow we'll have a room opening up at, believe it's 5, and that will be Black Men Can't Cheat on Black Women, Prove Otherwise. I'm sure that's going to be controversial to say the least, but we're going to bring it out through the spirit and just in reference of what that title means. We want, we're going to break it down of exactly how that plays throughout the Bible, and how we have been shown wrong throughout this captivity. um we also have coming up on Thursday of the Knights of the Round Table. That'll be at 6 p.m. on Thy Kingdom Come. And that title is What About Feminism is Necessary? And we're going to go into just the understanding of the questions is, we always have one topic, and we have two supporting topics, so three hot topics altogether. And the second topic of that is feminism uh uh is feminism anti-black man? And we're going to go into, the whole creation of the feminist movement. Is that anti-black man? Is that basically something to counter the black patriarchal position or leadership of the family? We're gonna That's gonna be a supporting title, and also the third um, topic, which is the second supportive, will be um, who wins and loses when feminism is front and center. So we're going to be dealing with that. We know that through the feminist movement, it's been a basically a all out attack on our black family. So we're going to discuss those things on Nights of the Round Table. We implore that you come and join the discussion in that room or the room I spoke about before. And then on Friday, we have, as they call it, a humdinger. Um, this one is going to be, if you can't trust his direction, don't trust his erection. So I'm sure that that is controversial to say the least. And we're going to be dealing with that on Friday as well. And the basics of that is going to be the question is, why are women so comfortable giving a man access to their body, but will deny him control of the will in the relationship? So we're going to dive into that, because we want to know, why would you trust giving something that is so sacred to someone that you will not trust in following? So we want to break that down through the spirit. So yeah, so stay tuned for those rooms that become available. We want to engage in these discussions and control these discussions. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to go to these rooms and be shut down with these discussions. We want to engage in them and give our perspective as Israelites, as the true children of the Bible. So with that being said, first and foremost, we want to give all praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. We thank everyone for coming out. We pray that you have a beautiful rest of your evening. May the Most High keep you safe. And with that being said, we're going to say Shalom.
Shalom.